Aloha and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be going over the project 15.1, which is the 7-segment display. It looks like a little digit, and we're going to be using that for our project. So let's go ahead and take a look at our component list here. We have our usual suspects. We have our Pico, we have our micro USB, we have our breadboard, we have our 74HC595 integrated circuit. We also have our 7-segment display. This is the newcomer. We're going to be using 8 of the 220 ohm resistors, and we're going to use a virtual boatload of jumpers, lots and lots of jumpers. And this is kind of where we start to get a little bit slower in our projects. This is really where we're going to start slowing down, folks. So let's take a look at the 7-segment jumper, or the 7-segment display here. It looks like a figure 8, essentially. And each one of these segments is controlled by a different bit. So it has a common anode and individual cathodes. So when we display on here, if we send a bit which is 0 or low, it's going to turn it on. If we send it high, if the bit is 1, it's going to turn it off. So if we wanted to get this one right here to display, we would want to turn this one and this one to a 1. The bit would be 1 to turn that off. Now, how we, the actual numbering of which bit corresponds to which segment here is mentioned down here. So if we look at the order of them, the DP right here, the decimal point, the DP, that one right here is the first one that's looked at. The second one is G over here. And actually it lists it right here, DP, G, then F, then E down here, then D, then C, then B, then A. So given all of these, you can send it a number of bits in a certain order to specify which one of these segments are going to be turned on. And they're going to be turned on if that bit is equal to 0. So if we're trying to get the one for, let's say, the character 0, it's going to be essentially this one turned on, this one's first, so this is a 1, then 1, then 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And that's what it is down here. And that is hexadecimal C0. That is the representation of that in there. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to come up with all of these different hexadecimal things. No, you're not, because they've been kind enough to send us the ASCII chart and the hex chart right here for all the different values of the different characters. So we're going to use this to display 0 through 9 and A through F. And it gives us the different things here and the corresponding hex that we're going to need. It's easier for us to look at it and see it ASCII, because that tells us, you know, whether we're turning the bits or the little pieces on or off. But this is what we're going to be using in the code itself. That's the hexadecimal. So then we go down here and we take a look at the things we're going to be using. We're going to be using pins 21, 20, and 18 again for controlling this over here. And we're going to have a lot of wiring. So we're going to have 8 resistors set up around here. And notice the ordering of it. Also, when you set this up, I want you to leave exactly the number of spaces that they have on here, because that's going to help you out later. Also, as always, be very careful about your power and your ground. Make sure that you're consistent with your rails. Use similar colors for your ground. Use the black ones for your ground, and use red for your power. And do note that our power rail and our ground rail are marked differently than the way they're using it here. So just be aware of that. Other things to note here. Oh, very important right here. Notice they've taken our chip and flipped it. They have flipped the chip. So we're going to have to go in there and reverse that order. And unlike before, where we had all of our controlling wires going on the bottom, Because we flipped the chip, they're going from the top this time. So keep that in mind. So if we were to look at the code is really simple. It's very simple, actually. So they've taken our hexadecimal codes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. That's a hexadecimal series there. Then they go ahead and they start the chip. They say, hey, we're going to be controlling with 18, 20, and 21 pins. Then over here, what they're doing is they're going through a range of 0 to 15, and that corresponds to our hexadecimal things. Then it's going to shift out, and it's going to take list of count. So list of count, count is going to be the one in the range. I'll be taking them in order right there. So it's going to shift that out to it, and it's going to set up our things. It's going to sleep for a second, and then it's going to go and do the next one. So this is nice, and this shows you what it should look like. Blah, 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 code, 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 and that's it. So I will go ahead and stop sharing the screen, and I'm going to show you what we've got to do here. So here we've got our setup. So let's go ahead and pry the pin off there, because if we do a zoom in on there, we can see, notice that it says 4HC. So we can tell our orientation, but notice the notch in the chip right there. So we're going to have to reverse this, and be very careful, because you can bend these. The legs on this are very, very delicate. So when you're pulling it off, try to pull it as evenly as you can, so that you're going to do as little damage as you can do. But yeah, look at the things, make sure they're still okay. May need to do a little bending here or there to try to bring it into line, so that when you go and put it in. But the danger is, if you don't have this lined up when you go to put it in next, you can smash a pin up, and like one pin will easily fold in and you won't even know it. So just be very careful. And after you're done putting these in, check and make sure that you have them aligned properly again. Again, we're going to look at this and make sure that we have our writing upside down, which we do now. The little indent on the thing is right there. So this is the orientation that we want. So we're going to take this and we're going to move it over here. We're going to put it into the first, we're going to put it into the first one there. Now let's make sure that we're in the holes. Yep, we're in the holes. We're just going to take it here and we're going to push down nice and firm, and it just sits right in there, and we've got it. So we're going to start with that. Then the star of our show is this one right here. We want to make sure that our DP, our decimal point, is right there in the bottom corner. And this is the one we want to be careful about, because when we place this over here, we want to make sure that we put it in the right one. We want to leave the right number of rows above and below. So we're going to have exactly 2 rows above it that are showing. And if we put that in like that, we're barely going to have access to that second row. Down here, we're going to have access to exactly the 3 rows. And that's the way they have it shown. So this is what we're going to stick with. So now the first thing I want to start doing is wiring up our ground and power and everything else. So as I was mentioning before, we're going to try to stay as color coded as we can here. So I'm going to take this for our ground. So our first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ground. Well, actually, no. Second thing we'll do is that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our power, and we're going to run our power over here from the V bus. Let's go ahead and stab in over here. And this is giving me some trouble. So we get that. We're going to run that into our outer rail down here. So we're sending the power down below. So we've got that. Now the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ground here. We're going to run it from ground. And we're going to run this into the outer one. And notice how the color here is different from the color in the book. This is set up to be our power, but we're running it using the ground there. So it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent, and we will be consistent because we're consistent people, right? Good. Okay, so now we're going to take our second one. We're going to go over here to our chip, and the first one here goes to the outer rail. And notice we've got black there and black over here. So yep, that kind of tells us that we're in the right place. So that's the grounds for up here. Do we have any power ones going up there? No, we're not going to be using power, but we will be using some more ground in the below one. So we're going to go to our ground, the second one over here. So set up our ground and we'll run ground into our near rail over here. And remember, we're going to run to near because our far one is power. So we've got that set up. Now we're going to have two more things here. We're going to set up power on chip or on pin 2 of our upside down chip over here. So we're going to set up for 2. We're going to do there, and we're going to stab into the outer rail. And again, since we're being consistent about our coloring, we see we've got red in the outer, red in the outer, black is on the inside. Yay! So that's consistent. So now after that, we're going to put in our next ground, and our next ground is going to go from pin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pin 5 on here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. So we're going to go pin 5, and it's going to go into the near rail. Not even looking at my chart, I just know it because if we look over here, we can see that's near rail. So now we've got that. We've got to do one more power. So we're going to do our power running from, let's see, the first pin on the right of our upside down chip. So we're going to run this into where? The outside rail, because our outside rail, of course, consistently is using our power. So now we're going to do one more power because we need power down here. So this one is going to be from the center, the third. So 1, 2, 3. So this will be from the third one, and we'll put this into, where is it going? The outer one. So there, we've got power running there properly. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 red cables and 2 black ones set up on the bottom. Now let's go ahead and start putting our data pins in. So our first one, our first data pin, let's use, what will we use for our color? Shall we use, let's use white here. So we're going to use white and blue. So the first one, actually, let's use blue for the first one. So we're going to use pin 21 here. So let's find pin 21 right there. Yay, pin 21. So where's pin 21 going? Well, pin 21 is going to go over to the bottom over here, and it's going to plug into the one right next to the power rail. That's 1, 2, third one over. So we can see we've got power rail right there. And that's 1, 2, and then we're going to go into 3 right here. So 3, got that plugged in. So the next one we're going to do, we're going to set up pin number 20. So we're going to go over here to number 20. So where's 20 going to go? 20 is going to go over to, let's see, the 1, 2, third pin on the upside here. So we're going into the third pin. So it's this one right yonder. Hold on. Let me see if I can get that. So yeah, that's not looking so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up so we can see it better. And I'm going to go over here and put it into the third. This is the 1, 2. Well, hold on. That's the 1, 2, 3, fourth pin. Is that supposed to be the fourth pin? Let me see. We're doing 20 here. So 20 goes down to the 1, 2, 3, fourth pin. That is correct. So it goes into the fourth pin there. So then the fifth pin is taken up. All right. So now we're going to do pin, that was 20. So we've done 21 and 20. The next pin we're going to do is 18. So let's go ahead and pick another one. Let's pick white. So we'll pick white to go into to 18. So where is 18 going to go to? Hold on. First of all, let's stab in 18 over here. Pull it up so that we can all see that. So 18, we have, there we go, 18. So that's going to go, pin 18 is going to go to the third from the right on our upside down chip. So third from the right. So that would be 1, 2, 3. It goes right next to our ground rail, conveniently. There we go. So that is all of our pins on the top side. So yay for that. So now let's go ahead and see what else we have to set up here. So on the top of our chart, or on our thing here, let's go ahead and start running some other cables. So we're going to have one going from, you want to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. No, we have one going from the second pin. So the second pin here is right next to our ground. So the second pin is going to go over here. Oh, wait, now we have to do something unpleasant. Let's pull this out. So we're not going to do that just yet. The unpleasant thing that we have to do is set up a bazillion resistors over here. So let's go ahead and embrace the pain. So we're going to go ahead and take our resistors. So the resistors we're going to set up in a certain way. So we're going to start by putting it into the second, let's see. And then I'm going to put it into the second pin over from here. So I'll put it into the second pin, but then it's going to go, I'm going to put a space of, let's see, how many pins are we going to leave open between them? We're going to leave 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to leave 3 open between them. So I'll put this into the second pin here. I'm going to leave 3 open. Got that, and there you go. Wait, I'm only leaving 2 open. So let me move that 1 over to the side. Oh, please don't come out altogether. Okay, so we've got 3 open in between them. So I've got that into the second pin. Is that the way that it's supposed to be? So that's the closest one in. So it's, yeah, 1, 2, and then I've got 1, 2 open. Yep, so I've got 3 open, and then that's going to be the third one off the side. That is correct. And now the next one I'm going to put in, I'm going to go just like that, but I'm going to space it over just 1. So up here, I'm going to go into the first pin here, and I'm going to go in there, and then I will put this one in right beside it. So hold on, I'm going to go like that. Let me keep these separated so we can see a little bit better. So stab that in. So we've got 1, we've got a space of 3 in between them, but we're just like that. So this is good. So that's the first 2. We're 25% of the way there. So now let's go ahead and pull out some more. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to put a space of 3 openings between it, but we're going to start with the second one in there and open it up 3, and it goes just like that. So that looks wonderful. Then we'll go ahead and do the same thing that we did before. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the same ones essentially, but just 1 shifted. So this is, that was weird. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to put that in just like so. Separate that out, put that in. That should do it. So yeah, we're looking a little rat's nesty there, but this is the way we need that. So we've got 50% of our things set up here. So let's go ahead and pull up our next resistor. And the good thing is it's the same way on the bottom side. So it's all symmetrical. It's just a pain in the butt. So we're going to go down here. We're going to set this up 2 off from here. And we're going to open up 3 spots and plug in there. And let's see if that will go, or else I'm going to have to fight it. Does that go in? Is that going in nicely over here? So that is, yeah, is that going in? Okay, yeah. So it's in the second one. It's got a space of 3 there. So that is good. And then once we're in here, we'll just grab another one of these, and we know that we're going to shift it over. We're going to shift this over right here. And we're going to leave 3. And did I leave 3 or did I leave 4? I think I left 4 there, but I will adjust that. So let me come over here. Oh yeah, I've done a leapfrog here. Wait, no, I actually do think I've got 3 in between. Yeah, I do. So I've got that opened up, 3 in between, 3 in between. So we've got that side set up. Now we go and take the other ones over here. We're going to have to work our way in between these things. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, but we can work it. So we're going to go over here, put it in. Don't know if you can see this because gosh knows I can't. So we're putting it into the second one there. This one is a little bit off. The second, we're leaving 3 in between. And then we're going to take this one. We're going to do this 1 off. So we're going into the first right there and over here, putting 3 in between. Yes. So that is working now. Yay for that. Small victory. Okay, so now we're going to start back here with that one that I was talking about. So where in the heck does this go? I'm going to have to look around and see because I forget where we left off. Okay, I see. So we're going to start over here on our next cable. So this is going to run from the second pin, and we'll go ahead and put it into the second pin here. And we're going to run this one over to all right, so this inside one right here, we're going to run this into this lane right here. Hold on, where is it? Right there. So we're going to put it into this one. So 3 dots over. So that's correct. Now we're going to run another one. And let's see, I'm going to use black. I don't want to because that's kind of our ground, but I will do it anyway. So this goes in right next to our blue wire here. I'm going to run this over to, this is going to go to the next one over here. So we'll just plug it in right there. So now that we've got that, we've got one that's going to be a runaround. I'm going to use a red here. I'm not a big fan of using a red since red usually denotes power for us, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put it into here, and we're going to run this one over to the, let's see, this one's going to go, this is going to go all the way down to the bottom over here, and it's going to plug into the nearsighted one. So that's going to be in this lane right here. Remember that these are all one circuit. So plug in right there, the third over. So that concludes the wiring for the top up here. Well, no, actually it doesn't. We've got some more wires that are going to come through here. So I'm going to use shorter jumpers for these. So in the next lane over, let me go ahead and put it down here so that it's a little bit easier to, sorry, a little bit easier to do at this point. So this one over here is going to go down to the top pin on the bottom. So I'm going to put this into, let's see here. I'm going to put this one into this one right here. All right. So now we're going to go into our next row, and I'll use a green machine for this one. So we're going to take this and plug this into right there. Hold on. So plug that one in. And this one is going to go to the outer one down here. So I'm going to put this one over here right next to the one we just plugged in, because we know that those resistors are 1 off from each other. So that one covers that. And then we're going to go in our next one. Let's use just used green. What color should I use? Yellow. I'll use a yellow one, a little yellow shunt. So I'm going to put this one in over here. Careful, parallax view may have us punching somewhere else. So I get it in there. And then this one is going to go to the top one over here on the underside. So we're going to look to get it right there. So just plug in right there. Now let's take a blue one. And blue is going to be the last, yeah, hold on. Yeah, blue is going to be the last pin covered over here. So we're going for pin number 1. I'll just put it in right there. Then this pin is going to go to the top one over here that we haven't done yet. So if we look over here, we're going to go right next to it. We're going to plug in. If I can get my big fat fingers in here, we're going to plug in right there. Dee-da. Good. So, all right. I now have the top ones done. What do we have for the bottom ones done? We've got most of the bottoms done, I believe. There is one that we haven't done. Let's see. Let me check. So I've got the wiring for 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the first ones. So I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got one that's going to go right before the red one. Yeah. So the one that goes right before the red in the 2-pin position, the 2-pin position for the chip over here, that one is going to run over here to the bottom one right there. So let me go ahead and pull up what color shall we use? Let's try a blue. Let's see if blue will bring us where we need to go here. So we know it's in the 2 position. So we're going to go over here. We're going to stab into 2. So we've got 2 right there. And then we're going to go into right here on the outside. And I believe this may be it. So we've got this one covered, that one covered. We've got this one, we've got that one and that one, we've got that one, that one. Yeah, it looks like we've got all of our wires in, and I would count them, except that there's just too many to count. So I don't really want to do that. So anyhow, I believe that we have everything done at this point. And let's just check and make sure that black goes in, we're consistently putting ground to the right place. And we've got power going to the right place. So we've got power, yep. Power is on the same one, and we've got black going into other inner rails down there. So it looks like we're consistent. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plug in our handy dandy little device. Nothing comes on. That's fine. So now I'm going to load up the code. And when I load up the code, let me see what I can pull up here. I'm going to have to go to the command palette because we're not connected to the Pico to begin with. Actually, no, we're connected now. So I'm a little bit nervous because things never work properly after you put in all this wiring and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hit run, and lo and behold, looky, this is working. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh my, this is wonderful. So this is one of the trickier ones, I think. This is the first one that has a lot of wiring. Our next lesson is going to have a lot more wiring, but be careful in this. To be honest, I did about an hour-long video last night of this same one, and I was having trouble. And the trouble was that my IC chip, one of my legs there, bent under it. And I had no idea. But and it was acting erratically. I would get this thing to print sometimes, but not all the time. And it just had to do with, I noticed that if I moved my wire, if I just kind of pushed my wires or something, I would get different things coming up there. They were messed up, but there was things coming up. I was like, what's going on here? What's going on here? I thought maybe, do we have any crosstalk on our wires, or do we have any problems? I went over and I checked every single pin 2 and 3 times, or every wire, to make sure everything went to the right place. And it just made no sense. I could push my wires a little bit this way and it would, it would come out differently. Well, what it turned out to be really was the IC chip. And I realized that when I pulled it off and I looked at it, and I could see that one of my pins were bent under. So that came from when I pulled it out. Maybe one was off a little bit, but when I went to push it back down onto there, it crimped it under. It just kind of crimped under like this. So when it did that, it wasn't making proper connections there. Maybe it did sometimes, maybe it didn't. But anyway, that was the problem. So if you have erratic issues coming out of there, check your chip. First of all, make sure your chip orientation is proper, and then make sure that your legs are not crimped under, bent up, everything. So anyways, that is 15.1. That's our 7-segment display. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to play around with it. You can go into that list and change around your things there. So have fun with that. But yeah, that's our project. So if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out, and I will see you in the next lesson. Aloha.